Hi everyone, my name is Wang and I'm the Secretary for the third Global Corporate Sustainability Award. This session I'll be going through with you some of the key criteria for the award and what this award is all about. So that's some of the winners from last year. They are from different countries and different industries. So companies eligible for this award need to have English version CSR reports, not necessarily 2019 if the company doesn't publish every year. The disclosure of ESG information are critical, so how you present environmental, social, and governance issues. It follows framework not limited to GRI, integrated reporting, or FASB. It can be any kind of local framework as long as it's valid. So those are the two key sections we assess for this award, the report and the website. So it's a combination of compliance issues and also creative communication. First of all, we'll look at the report section. So the key criteria are completeness, creditability, and communication. So I'll give you an example from last year's winner, China Airlines, who won the 2019 Sustainability Reporting Award. So the 15% from out of the 40% on completeness goes to materiality. So we assess materiality matrix, materiality analysis methodology and procedures. So, and also it's better if you can reference material topics to other sections of the report, so readers can understand the analogy of how material issues were determined and the importance of the material topics to the organization. So those are some of the key criteria out of the 15%. In the example of China Airlines, it's very clear on the materiality matrix of how different ESG issues are being presented and how critical they are to different parts of the organization. So the next 10% goes to stakeholder inclusion. So the 10% will assess how the stakeholders are being identified, what are the issues they concern, and the significance of the stakeholder to the organization. So as you can see from this table, the China Airlines CSR report outlined. So it gives a very clear outline of who the stakeholders are, what are the issues they're mostly concerned, and followed by the communication channel, but this part we also assess how the organization respond to those topics. So that's just 10% on stakeholder inclusion. The next 10% goes to strategy. So it's how the company present their strategy to a CSR report reader. So it's a value chain that they follow for the strategy perspective. In the case of China Airlines, it's very clear how they follow the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. So it also gives a very clear outline of the organization's short-term, mid-term, and long-term goal in the next 10 years. So that's from the strategy perspective. And 5% for the organizational context. So companies may present what's important from an organization perspective to the reader. For example, their products and services, financial performance, geographical location, and employee information. So also the management structure. So it really depends on how the company decide what's important for their readers to understand about their company. Another 35% for creditability. So it's about how the report is creditable to readers. So 10% out of 35 goes to management process. So it's about the management system, the different standards to follow, and the key personnel involved in the management process. In this case of China Airlines report, it gives a very clear section of the management approach. What are the material issues, how they communicate and commit to the long-term goals, and how they follow SDGs. And also, stakeholder inclusion is also part of credibility. In this case, the judges will be assessing the results of consensus reached through stakeholder consultation, the feedback activities adopted by the organization, and how the result contribute to the organization in establishment of corporate strategy. So it's from a credibility perspective of how stakeholders can be included in this communication channel. Another 5% on governance, so it's the board management and structures. So one part that most companies do miss out is the remuneration versus sustainability performance, which means this is remuneration of key management needs to be linked to sustainability. And also risk and opportunity identification process is also part of the governance. Another 5% on performance, so it's the impact caused by material ESG issues. So the most important part is disclosure of any instance of non-compliance, penalties, or special events. For example, in this case of China Airlines, they did disclose a case where they faced a typhoon in Kansai International Airport in Japan. So that obviously caused a lot of flight delays. So that's one of the special events that they faced throughout the year and how they dealt with it. So yes, so that's how the performance section are being assessed. The next 10% goes to assurance. It's about internal audit, certification process, and external assurance. For some of the typical assurance standards they will be assessed on are AA1000 or ISA E3000. So it has to include the scope and methodology state. Just bear in mind that the level of assurance doesn't affect the grade you're getting, but it's about whether you have done the assurance or not. So the next 25% will be on communication. 10 out of 25 will be on the presentation. So the entire report needs to be appropriate in length. So we don't have a specific number of pages to follow, as long as it's not a lengthy report. Graphic presentation and layout are important, so it's easier for the readers to get the information. So that's how the 10% will be assessed on. So in this case of China Airlines, it's very clear how the capital were invested and the sustainability strategies are being complied with the United Nations SDGs. So it's a very creative diagram which China Airlines has presented last year. And also stakeholder inclusion is still part of communication. So this part is about communication channels, how the different stakeholders can access to the company's corporate divisions and also communication feedback channels for different stakeholders. So that's how the stakeholder inclusions section are being assessed for communication. The reporting structure is another 5 out of 25. So the overall report conclusion, index is important, and the search engine. And the report needs to include comprehensive hyperlink to the web page. So it's how you communicate the company's information through the CSR report. Next, we'll be looking at the website. So out of the 50%, it's 25% on multimedia design interactive function, electronic reports and hyperlink, stakeholder communication, feedback channels, and social network, websites, and also website management. First part on CSR website report updating and management. So the most important part is the latest news section. It's very important that the CSR section of the website needs to be updated regularly. For example, this news was very recent, it's in June. And it's also very important that CSR section needs to be hyperlinked to the homepage. So whenever people enter the corporate website, they can identify where the CSR section is. And also the website has to be updated with real-time communication. The next part is on electronic report and hyperlinks. So the most important part, the CSR report can be downloaded from the website, and the different dimensions are being included on the website for environment, social, supply chain, and governance. The next part is multimedia design and interactive function. So it's very creative how different companies will come up with different ideas. In this case of China Airline, they did a wonderful job of how they disclose carbon footprint. For example, when you take a flight from Taipei to Sydney, you can be understanding how much carbon emissions you are generating from this flight per person. They have also designed an interactive game for people to understand those CSR issues. And the next part is also very interesting how they come up with different videos. So it's very interesting how different companies will come up with different ideas of how they'll communicate different sustainability issues to their stakeholders. Stakeholder communication feedback channels. So this part comes to the website search engine and outlining of CSR issues by category. So it's about how the feedbacks can be sent to the company and how it can be responded. So in this case, they have a feedback channel or sometimes newsletters. Those are some of the typical ways how stakeholder communication can be conducted. So a bit of idea of how you're going to submit this report online. So just go to this website and sign up with login, and you can go to the my entry section and press start new entry and then select sustainability report under the category. And you can follow the prompt from there. Some of the typical questions people may be asking. So how many winners per year? The answer is, it really depends on the number of participants and also the quality of different reports. And do you have to be at the ceremony? The answer is not necessary, because especially this year during COVID-19 pandemic, it's unlikely international companies can be traveling around to attend ceremonies. In this case, your trophies will be posted to you and you will be the award winner by name. So how is the award being graded? So the report will be reviewed by a number of trained review judges before a final decision by GCSA panel committee. And if you have any further question, just drop us an email on gcsa@taise.org.tw. So just if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email. So those are the timelines. So we're closing on the 31st of August, and the result will be announced sometime in October. We'll say 4th of October, but it can be varied. And the award ceremony will be held on November 18th. So all the best. We hope to see you there this year, and good luck. And we'll hope you all the best with this award. Thank you.